Hey folks, I'm here. We are back and this is it. Are you ready for the finale of Hokuto no Ken on the Genesis? Let's do this! To our north is the final battle with Kaio. Are you pumped? I'm pumped. Decide the destiny! You'll notice Kaio has a very small life meter. That's because his first form is pretty much a formality. After just a few hits, he turns glowing and red for some reason. There's the black wave again, it still does nothing. As with most bosses, it's easiest to close the distance with a jump kick. Oop. But a lot of the times, he'll jump kick too, and you'll just cross each other up, and that'll give you an opportunity to land a punch. As you can see, he has spazzy punches like Hyo's, but they don't cover as much distance, and so they're basically not as dangerous. However, like Hyo, he can sometimes go crazy spamming them, which can make him nearly unbeatable. But all in all, he's not nearly as bad as I demonstrated Hyo to be. As long as you keep getting in close and landing those punches, down he goes. Very nice. That is pretty much it for gameplay, so I'm going to take the ending here as an opportunity to try summarizing what happens around the finale in the source media. This may not be precise on every detail, my memory being what it is, but you'll get the idea. While Ken faces off with Kaio, Hyo teams up with Kuroyasha, a retainer to the family since Kenshiro was a baby. I should note that Kuroyasha is an elderly black ninja dwarf, which is fucking awesome. Anyway, the two of them take on Kaio's entire personal army to rescue Lin, and manage to kill them all, but they're both critically wounded in the process, and sadly Kuroyasha dies pretty quickly. Hyo, however, manages to drag himself on toward where Ken and Kaio are fighting. After those two go back and forth for a while, Kenshiro eventually pulls ahead and leaves Kaio pretty much crippled. His legs are just destroyed, and his arms aren't much better. But Kaio's not quite ready to quit. He crawls over to his mother's grave and prays to her spirit for one last shot at Kenshiro. Then, and I shit you not about one word of this, a geyser sprays up from Mrs. Kaio's gravesite and shoots Kaio into the air on a jet of water, where he tries to come down at Ken with a last-ditch aerial strike. Yes, Fist of the North Star is fucking insane. Anyway, Kenshiro counters the body splash with an uppercut to the chest that pretty much powderizes Kaio's sternum, but he uses a Toki-style Kung Fu Jesus technique to keep Kaio from suffering, since Kaio had a pretty rough life, and Ken's a sucker for that stuff. This pretty much knocks the crazy out of Kaio, who goes into full-blown what have I done mode. Meanwhile, Hyo arrives on the scene, fully on death's door at this point, and Hyo manages to reconcile with Kaio just before expiring. Kaio, being totally devastated at this point, gathers up Hyo's body, carries him to a volcanic crater, magics up an eruption, and engulfs them both in lava. When the flames die down, there's a hardened volcanic rock statue left behind of Kaio holding Hyo's body, which I have to say is a pretty goddamn metal way to memorialize yourself. Anyway, due to some previous Hokuto Ryuken jiggery-pokery by Kaio, Lin is unconscious and going to fall in love with the first person she sees when she wakes up. While Lin still has her almost stalkerish crush on Kenshiro, his heart still belongs to Yuria, so he leaves her with Bat and wishes them a happy life together as he rides off into the sunset, as depicted here in the ending. By the way, did you notice the music was by Booty? Yeah. So, that was pretty much it for the source material. That was definitely it for the anime. There were a few more storylines in the manga, but they were pretty much wrapping things up at that point. So, Saraba, Kenshiro, Saraba, Hokuto Shinken. At this point, if you've taken an interest in the source material due to my little project here, for one, I'm flattered, and for two, I would like to give a few shout-outs to some folks who have made that source material more accessible, because most of it was never officially released in English. At www.ftusa.org/rapeyouface/fist, and that's a capital F on fist, you will find scanslated versions of most of the manga. Volumes 1 through 7 are not present, but volumes 8 clear through the end are all there, and a very good scanslating job by Spamdini. Also, for the TV series, I highly recommend Heart of Madness. That's just heartofmadness.com. They've done an absolutely outstanding job fan-subbing the anime TV series. Series 1 is completely done, that's up through the death of Rao, and Series 2, which is the part that this game is based on, they've gotten the vast majority of the episodes. I think they're up to something like episode 140-something out of 150-something, so you can get pretty much all of it now, and you'll be able to get all of it eventually. I have no connection with any of these people, I just really appreciate the work they've done for Hokuto no Ken nerds like myself, so I highly recommend checking them out. And that's it for the Hokuto no Ken series of I Played Things. This is been a pleasure as always. That's game, Hendrix.